So confirmation is a sweet thing from the Lord. Last May and June, we felt like we got more pieces to really being confident in what the Lord was calling us to. One of them was being able to visit a marina like this, where we were able to load a boat for Hope Fleet. We got to meet a gentleman who had a small sailboat ready to go to Abaco, and he was willing to take supplies. Our entire family jumped at this opportunity to serve together, to load up our truck, to load the buggies, to take those down the dock, and to be able to load his sailboat with some needed supplies. And that was sweet. It was such a sweet thing to see the girls jump in and want to push and pull the buggy, the cart to the boat, and then helping them lift the boxes into the V-berth. It was just such a sweet thing to see them involved and excited about it. And then we were able to have deeper conversation with the captain, and he even allowed us to pray with him. So that was sweet. We got to do that in West Palm Beach, and it was just a great way to start May, and got us a little bit closer to being around this, which is where we feel called.
So yeah, we don't always get to load boats though from a dock. Sometimes we have to come to one of these. It's a dinghy dock, and as you can see, there's all kinds of different shapes and sizes, and we have to make tons of trips back and forth to the big boat, loading them up and taking the supplies out to their big boat. And after we loaded that boat in West Palm, then we went down to Marathon, where we loaded up a bunch of these dinghies. Actually, we were blown away. A whole group of people showed up. They were just excited to come and help us and to load this boat. There was like 8 to 10 dinghies. We loaded them all at one time and had a great time loading that thing up.
Yeah, so going down to the Keys, not only was it an amazing trip because it's so beautiful to see all that water, but the girls were rock stars there too. Mm-hmm. That was a really long day. I mean, driving from West Coast to East Coast and then down to the Keys, that was a lot.
Yeah, it really was.
But they were troopers, and it was a lot of fun to do that together. So when you said 8 to 10 dinghies, I mean, the Hope Fleet van was there. There was so much that we were putting on.
Yeah, the van was full. We had stuff in our truck. We met up with other team members from Hope Fleet, and we were expecting like one dinghy, and we would probably have to make about a dozen trips we were planning back and forth to load and offload, load and offload. And
there were other kids involved. And then once I think the community had seen these dinghies going back and forth to this boat, it was like, we want to be part of that. What's going on? We can help. People just jumped in. They had no idea the purpose or what was happening until, they were like, how can we help? And being able to share what was going on was really, really cool. And what made it sweeter is this was the boat that opened the door for Hope Fleet to get into Central America. And so this boat was able to go to Guatemala, and we started establishing partners. Hope Fleet established partners in Guatemala, and it was crazy. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then once all these boats made one big trip out to the boat, and everybody offloaded the boat on the deck, and then we climbed down into the boat and we're playing Tetris, like just finding holes to shove all this supplies. And that's not where it ended. Like everybody stayed on the boat and was hanging out, and we got to pray over their whole voyage and
worship music,
do some worship together, and then we all went out to eat that night. It was really fun, and
super
a real
impactful
blessing to be part of it.
So I mentioned confirmation for us over these last 2 months, and I think being on the water, being able to ride in the dinghy to the big boat, being able to be on that vessel with that family, because it was a husband and wife and son, and being in the mooring field with all those boats, it was just like, this is where we're supposed to be.
Yeah, it was a good stamp, like, this is where we're supposed to be, for sure,
It was so fulfilling, and as long as that day was, the Lord sustained us, the energy was there, because we just felt like we were where we're supposed to be, doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Yep. And I guess that brings us to June.
Yep.
Yeah, so we started off June with a ministry update. The first one we've ever actually done, like an official gathering, inviting everyone who was local, and so that we could fill them in a little bit deeper with what we believe the Lord's calling us to. It went fantastic, I think.
Yeah, we're excited for what God's doing and how He's used us. I mean, even years in the camper and transitioning now to believing we're called to the water. We were able to share a meal with people, and there was excitement in the room.
Yeah, for sure. And it was our official first ask, where we literally asked people to support us financially as well. That's always a big hurdle to get over when you're stepping out like this.
We received a lot of encouragement that night, and it was such a blessing to have a place to do it. The farm right up the road was open to us being there and being able to present to whoever wanted to come and share and fellowship, and so we just are so thankful. So without
everyone
them
involved was super helpful. I mean, they made it easy on us.
They did.
They really did.
They did. So that was exciting.
Yeah, and then right after that, it got really exciting.
It did. I mean, all of that was exciting. But we left the girls for 16 days in order to take an opportunity to go to the Eastern Caribbean, jump on a sailboat, gather some training, spend our 15-year wedding anniversary, and connect with some people that we had only been in contact through technology.
Yeah, so one of the volunteers with Hope Fleet, he just kind of threw out there the option, if anybody's interested in helping him crew, this is his schedule of what's going on, and we picked this window. It took us through the area that Hope Fleet did a lot of work following Hurricane Beryl. So I was excited to be able to touch all these little islands where I'd been talking to people to coordinate relief supplies into. But we flew into St. Vincent, took a ferry boat down to Bequia where the boat was anchored, and we joined him there. Beautiful 48-foot leopard catamaran. We sailed her all the way down to Grenada.
I quickly learned geography in the Eastern Caribbean, because even looking at the map when Hurricane Beryl hit, and then when Captain Mark had put that out, we kind of we're like, wow, this would be really cool. You know, you hear something and then you start dreaming about it, and then we were really praying about it, like, could this really happen? Wow, that's a long time to be away from the girls, and would they be okay? Would we be okay? And then trying to justify it, you know, for me, I guess, to justify being away that long and for the purpose. But you know, when everything lined up with being able to get some training for sailing with where the Lord's taking us, and it
was real training too.
It was real training.
It was true ocean passages between these islands, because as soon as you break the cover of the island, you're in thousands of feet of water with real ocean conditions.
And we didn't have the best conditions. We got to Bequia and we had to wait out for several days the weather, and even when we left, the conditions weren't great.
Winds were still 20 to 30 knots the whole time. And we just had to go because we were on a schedule.
But this was perfect for us, because for me, I was like, okay, I love boats, been on boats. My stomach's pretty consistent with being okay being on boats. But when you're out in open ocean, like, you just don't know. And so I'm sitting there going, okay, the winds are picking up, the waves are a little bit greater than I expected. And so with the motion, you're sitting there going, can I handle this? Can I handle this? If God's calling us to the water, can I handle this?
And the waves weren't too bad. They were 2 to 4 meters.
Do the math.
2 to 4 meters.
We got to see what we could handle, and it was amazing. Like, neither one of us had any bit of nausea or seasickness, and we had several of our passages were actually like that. So it was a really good test of that for us, and being able to work sails and anchoring and mooring and like all of the things, all the things on a boat for 16 days.
And as much of a blessing as it was to us, I think it was a blessing to Mark too, because he had a shoulder injury and really couldn't man the boat by himself at that point.
It just wouldn't have been safe.
Getting to visit all the places that I had sent boats in to coordinate supplies with, and you know, what was primarily just WhatsApp messages, emails, and phone calls and stuff, you know, came to life. We got to see the real damage, and these islands were stripped clean, like not a leaf left on a tree on the entire island.
And I wasn't as involved with all those conversations regarding Hurricane Beryl. Tim orchestrated a lot of those conversations with captains and how they could go in and deliver water to an island that needed it. All the supply deliveries and all of these cruisers that were already down there that just wanted to help. But to actually be there in the places where they're real people and they're real places and there's real devastation, and that was a big deal for us. We got to Union Island, and Union was a big piece. It got hit really hard.
They had no water, they had no power, they had no houses. We found out on this trip that there was literally only 2 buildings left on the entire island that were habitable following the hurricane. Every other structure on the entire island was missing a roof or completely destroyed. The hurricane was a Category 5 as it mowed over that island.
Yep.
Our point of contact on the island during all of the supply deliveries and coordination, she was an absolute rock star, and it was a massive blessing just to meet her. But she goes, come with me. And, and we jumped in her car.
And she takes us on an entire tour of Union Island, up the mountainside and down the mountainside. And she was just pointing out all the different things that had been rebuilt since, which again, it was like almost exactly a year out from the hurricane, and the things that still needed to be built. We were blessed to be able to spend a good portion of the afternoon with her. We did share a meal together and got to pray together.
Yeah, so then after that, we continued down into Grenada, and we got to spend an entire week watching the boat by ourselves as Mark had flown back to the States to take care of his shoulder.
Yep, and we were able to cat sit.
In two ways. We were cat sitting the boat because it's a catamaran.
Oh, haha, that's funny.
We were watching his cat at the same time.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah, so that gave us some time to just really enjoy Grenada and meet people in the marina, meet people in the anchorage, and explore a little bit. Okay, so confirmation.
Yep.
That trip was so confirming, like every bit of it. I mean, from the travel from the States into the islands, and then every island hopping, the interactions with boaters along the way, and then when we were in Grenada, God showed us and how we believe he's going to use us on the water. There was a buddy boat, and he had come over and said, hey, my crew wants to go to the beach, so if you guys want to go to the beach, let me know. I'll come get you, and I'll drop you all off at the beach. And that was the beginning of the conversation. And I guess a little bit later, he was texting Tim because he had some boat work that needed to be done, right? And so you guys had a conversation.
Yeah, and it was just a simple, I'll take you to the beach unless you are willing to come help me try to figure out my water maker.
Yeah.
Which I would rather work on a water maker than sit on the beach, if I'm honest.
Yeah. So that meant that I was going to be dropped off at the beach with a perfect stranger, which was his crew. And I was like, okay, I'm not afraid to talk to people. So we get dropped off at the beach. I think it was 4 or 5 hours later, you guys come back and pick us up.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Yeah, but on my end, we're at the beach, and again, I'm never short for words. We got along very well, and then she starts asking us a little bit about what we're doing and what our pursuits are. So I share, and she starts sharing a little bit more about her faith and her walk, and proceeds to tell me that she's starting to dig deeper into Bible studies and go back to church consistently. And it was just a sweet time of encouragement for her in her season of life to encourage me, but also for me to encourage her in her walk. And we exchanged numbers, and we have kept in touch since. But it was just sweet to be able to pray over her and just build that relationship. So meanwhile, you were
just hanging out on the boat, working on the water maker, trying to figure out what's going on with it and help diagnose it. And of course, exchanging, conversation about what we're doing and what our plan is and all that sort of stuff. And you could definitely tell there was a lot of intrigue, and I getting to testify to what the Lord has already done with us and where we think we're going and stuff. And definitely a lot of intrigue and inquiry going on there. So.
Yeah, and it's just like the start of relationship building, and that's what allows conversations to continue and hearts to soften and an open door, for the Lord to do the work that he wants to do in our hearts. So that was huge confirmation for us, because we were like, yes, Tim is good at working with his hands and mechanical and all the things that the Lord has blessed him with and his gifts and talents. And I have a gift of talking to people. I'm just kidding. I love to talk to people.
Well, just a constant feeling of this is where we're supposed to be.
Yeah, for sure. That was the icing on the cake. For sure. So we got back from that trip fired up, fueled and fired up and ready, and like, we're ready for our boat. Let's go. And a heart to get back down to those islands and just love on people. It was definitely 2 months of more and more of God saying, keep coming.
Just keep coming. Yep.
Keep coming, keep walking, keep stepping. Yeah.
Yep. You're on the right path. Keep going.
Yeah.
Just stick with it.
Yeah. That's all I got. Because I'm leaking.
Oh.
You started it.
Leaking.
You started it. It's good. It's good. It's all good. It's powerful.
Yeah.
When you reflect, that's why it's so important. I should have brought another shirt so we could just record July, August, September, October.
We could switch shirts. Just same spot and just switch shirts. I put my hair down, you put your hair up.
That would be hilarious.